I grew my YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers using my phone. If you've been putting off starting your channel because all the gear and software feels overwhelming, I'm just gonna remove all of that confusion today. I'll show you how to get started with just your phone and some super basic equipment so you can jump right into filming. Let's dive in.
The first step is to choose a location in your home that you're going to film. Ideally, it's a quiet place without too much background noise and distractions. And if possible, choose a location with a window for that soft, natural light to come in. I filmed in my home office for the first 3 years of my channel, and ever since we converted it into a nursery, I've had to get creative with where to film around our house. Don't overthink this part, but try picking a spot with some visual interest. So maybe some depth in the background with a plant or a bookshelf, which tends to help the shot look more inviting. And of course, make sure it's clean and not distracting. So before you hit record, tidy up and declutter. You don't even want to see what the kitchen looks like right now because I basically just picked up all the mess here and just shoved it over there for this video. Next is your setup. You can easily set up your phone on a stack of books or up against an object so that you can angle it the way you want, but I just recommend grabbing a cheap tripod from Amazon. There are so many options you can go with here. I'll link a few down below for you, including the one that I'm using right now. It'll just make your life so much easier because you can take it with you around the house to get some B-roll and different types of shots. So once you've set up your phone, let's talk about where to position yourself in the frame. You don't want to be too close to the camera, but you also don't want to be too far away from the camera. And you also want to position it in a way where you have around the same distance on the left and right-hand sides, just to create that symmetry. And have a little bit of space above your head to allow you to zoom in and out while you're editing the video. And you'll want to get comfortable in your video. So either grab a comfortable chair or stand up, depending on what feels better to you. Leave enough space for hand gestures if that's your thing and you use your hands a lot to illustrate your points, just like I typically do. I also recommend having your video script positioned off to the side so that obviously your audience can't see it, but also it will prompt you on what to say next. Okay, it's time to set up your lighting. Honestly, I've tried a few different options, but still to this day, natural light from a window is my favorite. Ideally, try to film in the morning or late afternoon when the light is softer. Make sure that the window is on your face as opposed to behind you because it'll just create a shadow and your audience won't be able to see you. You can either have it directly on your face or slightly angled to create a little bit more dimension. Right now, my window is over here and the camera is over here, so I like to create a little bit of an angle. Believe it or not, I didn't invest in lighting until about 2 years into my channel. I was using the window in my office for natural light, and that was good enough. But if you do eventually want to invest in some studio lights, you can try softbox lighting from Amazon. I'll link the ones I use down below for you. Okay, now let's talk about audio. One of the most important elements to recording a high-quality video on your phone is your audio. Good sound keeps people watching more than good visuals, but that doesn't mean you have to invest in an expensive microphone to achieve that. Now, first, I don't recommend using your smartphone's built-in microphone because there tends to be a lot of echo and it just doesn't sound professional. You can just get a cheap lav mic from Amazon. I used a lav mic that plugged right into my Samsung, which I was using at the time, and I didn't upgrade until I reached 100,000 subscribers. I'll link a few down below for you based on your budget. I actually really like this one here that I'm using right now because it's wireless and I can go pretty far back without impacting the quality. Now, if you do have a newer phone and you want to use a lav mic with a wire, you will need an adapter, just like the one shown here. And like I mentioned earlier, make sure to pick a quiet place with minimal background noise. And try to speak clearly at a moderate pace and project your voice more than you usually do. This just helps to keep your energy up and your video more engaging. Okay, next up is your camera settings. Let's make sure that your phone's camera is set up for the best possible quality. And this is where you're going to see you do not need a professional camera, especially to get started. First, I highly recommend using the camera on the back of your phone as opposed to the selfie camera because this does tend to produce the best quality. And I know it's kind of awkward because you can't see how you look, but what I like to do is first position the phone to include what I want in the frame. And then then I will do a few test clips to make sure that I like where I'm positioned and if everything looks okay. If that still doesn't feel comfortable, you can always have a mirror on the other side of your phone so that you can see how you look on the screen. But if that's still not good enough for you and you still want to use the selfie camera, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you're looking at the lens when you're recording, as opposed to yourself on the screen, because it's going to be very obvious that you're not looking straight at the lens. Now, I personally forget to do this many times. I hope I didn't forget to for this video, but make sure you clean your lens before you record, just so that you're removing any smudges that could make the image look blurry. Record your videos horizontally, so in landscape mode, so that you are following YouTube's format and you won't end up with those black bars on the sides. Enable the grid lines in your camera settings so that it helps you keep everything straight. Otherwise, you might shoot everything skewed and that will just be distracting and it will look unprofessional. For any video that I record on my phone, I like to set it at the highest quality possible. So I'll usually go to 1080p or 4K. And if your phone has it, try recording in cinematic mode to create that slight background blur. This will add a professional look to your video, and I personally like the look of it. It keeps you as the focus throughout the entire video.
As you can see, with just your phone, a few easy tips, and some basic equipment, you're ready to create high-quality content for your channel. What's really important is the value you bring to your audience. So when you're ready to start your channel, check out my free YouTube channel setup training in the description box below. I walk you through the entire process of setting up and optimizing your channel from scratch. So I'll see you there.